Welcome to the show. Today we sit down with Cranbrook singer-songwriter David Prinn. Stick around.
I'm going round and round in circles. I don't know if it's a game, but I plan my life on my own. Leave myself to blame.
Hello, I'm here with singer-songwriter David Prinn from Cranbrook. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Jamie. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks a lot. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
We're here to talk about your music and your background in guitar playing and all the things that have happened in between, and how life has affected you and your playing. And so I always say, start at the beginning. Where did it all start? Where did you get that first little guitar?
My dad, when I was about 7 years old, gave me his Yamaha nylon string and said, "Son, I'm going to teach you to play guitar." And I wanted nothing to do with it. And he said, "Someday you'll thank me for this." And Dad, thanks. Yeah, it was a really great part. It's a part of my life.
So what kind of music was he interested in?
Dad was a folkie, Gordon Lightfoot, Kingston Trio, Peter, Paul and Mary. So I grew up with good solid roots.
Excellent. So, and that was where? Was that in Montreal?
Yeah.
And so did you get a chance to play music with other people when you were a kid?
No, not so much when I was a kid. My family is a musical family. My mom played auto harp. My dad played guitar and a bit of piano. But because they split pretty young in my life, we didn't really play much as a family together. I think my first introduction to an audience was high school. I'd been sort of hanging around with a bunch of guys. This is when Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young first hit the world. Eagles hadn't quite happened yet. But we were harmony singers, a bunch of my friends and I. And two brothers, the Lopez brothers, amazing guitar players and singers. Well, there was a high school gig at my high school, and one of them didn't show up. So Wayne and Henry said, "Dave, get out here."
You're in.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Stage fright extraordinaire. But it was a really great event in my life.
So was that the school gymnasium and that sort of thing?
That was the school theater, yeah.
Theater, yeah.
With 300 of my closest friends and enemies. And I'm really, really glad they hauled me out, because from that point on, that would have been 71. So I played around Montreal with other people. I didn't really play in any bands per se. And then left for the military in 79.
Yeah, so those travels, I presume, kind of, did you take the guitar with you kind of thing, and wherever you went?
It's pretty well known that I take a guitar with me everywhere I go. Right. I think this summer will be the only time I'm traveling without a guitar, just because airfare for the guitar is almost the same as for a human. So,
right. So when you were in the military, I mean, where did that take you?
Well, through basic training, I did not have a guitar with me as much as I would have liked. But as soon as I left for Germany, I brought a guitar with me, and I was playing in local trios and quartets and duos almost from the day I arrived.
Yeah, so when was that?
1982, July 14th to be exact. One of the best days of my life.
Right. And you were in Germany for quite some time, were you?
4 years, yeah.
For 4 years. And then posted back to Canada or elsewhere? Or?
Posted back to Calgary, and I continued to play in Calgary with a band that was already sort of formed. And then my involvement changed the feeling of the band a little bit. So I did that for about 3 years, and then moved to Edmonton for 4 years. Didn't play much there, did a bit of solo gigging and coffee house stuff.
When you were in Edmonton, though, you got connected to the folk music scene in another way, didn't you?
That was my second time there. So I went up there the first time in 1990 for 4 years, came back to Calgary, and then went back to Edmonton in 97. And it was shortly after that, probably 2000, I started my involvement with the Edmonton Folk Music Festival, if that's where you were going. That was a tremendous awakening in my life, and finding out about real stage work with lights and sound people and an audience of up to 10,000 people. Probably one of the best folk is a loose term, folk music festivals in the world. I think it's rated in the top 10. And you have to apply to volunteer there, and you're vetted. And if you get accepted, it's a big deal. And we spent 5 years
doing that,
working with that festival.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like there was some songwriting kind of, I guess, percolating in your life at that point, or it took a while for those kinds of things to be revisit them as a songwriter?
It's only until very recently that I even acknowledge myself as a songwriter. I'm a frustrated songwriter, and strangely enough, and I think you understand this, songwriting for many people is a process, and I don't understand the process. Because for me, the songs that I like best are the songs that they're there, they come. The songs that I have to work at and change words, and the melody's not right, it doesn't reflect the lyrics. Those are the ones I get frustrated with and sit in a drawer for years, many years. So my repertoire of finished songs that I'm happy with is pretty small at this point. Hopefully, now that I'm beginning to retire, gradually, that will give me more time to focus on that. There was a gig that I did just very recently, which is the first performance I've ever done that all I played was my own material.
Yeah, that's nice.
And it was very well received, and it gave me a really good feeling of, I really can do this. This song is called The Fickle Queen. In this game of life, you don't get to choose the cards you're gonna play. The Queen of Hearts and One-Eyed Jacks, they'll all come up someday. The dealer will not warn you of the cards that he's laid down. It's all in how you play them every time they come around. But I'm stuck between my life and a hard place. I don't see that there's any way to win. A one-leg man, I'm running in a foot race, lost in a fog of cigarettes and gin. Well, the game begins with the run of hearts, from the jack down to the 8. The Queen of Diamonds smiling back, she's breaking up your straight. You got to let that lady go if you want to win your hand. But you draw the king, now leaves you with another one-night stand. But I'm stuck between my life and a hard place. I don't see that there's any way to win. A one-leg man, I'm running in a foot race, lost in a fog of cigarettes and gin. Well, the game rolls on, it's up and down. The lady can't be found. 3 lesser queens played through your hand and drove you to the ground. The Queen of Hearts was in your hand once upon a day, but you let her go for another card you thought you ought to play. But I'm stuck between my life and a hard place. I don't see that there's any way to win. A one-leg man, I'm running in a foot race, lost in a fog of cigarettes and gin. Well, the moral of the story If you haven't seen it yet, just play the cards as they come to you. It's the only chance you'll get. If you let the Queen of Hearts go by, hope for better play, you know the cards you're gonna hold the day you slip away. But I'm stuck between my life and a hard place. I don't see that there's any way to win. A one-leg man, I'm running in a foot race, lost in a fog of cigarettes and gin.
I don't know if you've had the same experience as I have, but as time passes, that instrumentation becomes kind of, you know, something that you look at in terms of what you want to play, and you know, the kinds of guitars that you have. I mean, you have some really nice instruments, as I recall.
Mm-hmm. And, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
These days, I seem to spend most of my time playing one particular guitar. Because it's comfortable.
Right.
I can hold it for a long time. The guitar that I wanted forever, my Martin D28, it's now my campfire guitar. It's a big guitar. It's heavy to lug around, and it's big to play. And for a prolonged period of time, particularly since I find myself sitting now more than standing, it's not as comfortable to play. So the OM, which you may see later, is a guitar that I find most comfortable.
It's kind of the go-to guitar.
It's definitely my go-to
That's
guitar.
your custom built.
Yep. Jamie Weens made that for me about 6 years ago.
Right.
It was a bit of a happenstance. I just happened to see this piece of wood in his basement, and I said, hey, that would make a nice guitar, and it did.
So Dave, another aspect, of course, of your musical life has been musical theater, and so it'd be interesting to hear what you have to say about that and how it's influenced your life, because it's a big part of your life.
As well as music, theater is also a big part of my life. I've actually been doing theater since high school, but I'd never done a musical. And Cranbrook has a really good theater community, a part of which does an annual musical around Christmas, New Year's. Mm-hmm. This year I was fortunate enough to be cast in a significant role in Jesus Christ Superstar. I played Caiaphas, whose famous line is, "Jesus must die."
Yeah, exactly. You have the baritone for it.
That's what, right? But he's a bass.
Yeah.
So I had to adapt the role a little bit. It was a thrill. That whole team is so professional.
Well, I saw the show. It was a great show. I
Thank
loved
you.
your part.
Thank
It was
you.
great. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
I was.
it. So you're going to do more of that in the
Well,
future?
as we get older, the number of parts diminish for an aging gentleman, but hopefully. The song's called "You Better Think Twice." Love will steal your soul away. Joy that you're feeling, that's only for today. You'll know when you hold it in your hand, the price you pay for loving. Oh, it's more than what you planned, so you better think twice when you pick up the knife, which seems to come so easy. Stuck with for life. The rush will steal your soul away. Joy that you're feeling, that's only for today. You'll know when you
hold it in your hand, price you pay for loving. Well, there's more than what you plan, so you better think twice. When you pick up the knife, it seems to come so easy, stuck with for life. Too soon comes the light of day, you lie beside her knowing, but you just can't stay. It's done. Now you gotta try to live on with a memory. Once you kiss the tears goodbye, but you better think twice. When you pick up the knife, it seems to come so easy, stuck with the life. You better think twice. Try to understand, price putting cold steel in the palm of a lover's hand.
Other avenues, I guess, of music that you sort of feel like I need to pursue, or?
Well, it's always been easy for me to perform as a solo artist. I know a lot of people can't say that. I know you can. It's easy because you don't have to worry about rehearsal time. It's easy because you don't have to be so focused on the perfect timing to meet everyone else. But I do miss playing with others, particularly a full band with the backbeat that just gives you that wave that you can ride on. Harmony singing, I'm lucky that both my daughters sing, and I get to perform with them from time to time. So I would like to do more as I get more time in my life for myself. Sure. I think I would like to see more music in it. Perhaps in a bit of a larger project rather than just playing the coffee houses and local bars.
Right, and there's the work-life balance thing that we all face, and I guess that's always plays a role in it. But yeah, I mean, you're well known in the local music scene for performing in lots of different venues.
I've been very lucky.
Yeah, and that's great. I think that you know, you have a chance to, you know, take out your songs that sometimes it's not easy to do solo and original material only. I mean, we all probably have a little bit of our, you know, cover music to kind of help us when we're playing in the local environments and so forth. So is there anything else that you can think of that kind of comes to mind about?
Well, just going back to what you're saying for a minute about playing your original music. For the longest time, I was very reluctant because I felt comfortable with people hearing songs that I played. I try and make it a point not to play the A side of anything, so that people will say to me, "Oh, I knew every song you played, but I've never heard anybody else play it." That to me that's what I'm aiming for. But I think the biggest compliment I've had is from people that I've known for years that came up to me and said, "I heard you play that song a dozen times. I had no idea you wrote it." Thank you.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because if there's such a dramatic difference between your cover tunes and your tunes, that people go, "Oh, that's one of his."
Right. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
and then you're missing the mark. Right. But if you can blend your original music into that very well-known cover tunes, and people don't really see the seam, that's what I'm aiming for.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. David Prinn from Cranbrook, who's a singer-songwriter, still budding, but still working at his craft. Anyway, thanks very much, Dave, for being
My
part
pleasure,
of it.
James. Thanks for the time.
This song is called Circles. Do you ever wonder, bleary-eyed, just how it came to be that she slept right through your station with your suitcase at your feet? the conductor didn't wake you. 21st and Main, it'll be another hour before the train comes through again. I'm going around and round in circles. I don't know if it's a game, but I plan my life on my own and leave myself to blame. You wait for other people to tell you where to go, standing at the doorway when it's time for you to go. And as you heed your friend's advice, how you just can't lose, spend your life a walking round in someone else's shoes. I'm going around and round in circles. I don't know if it's a game, but I plan my life on my own and leave myself to blame. People, let me tell you how to stay out of the storm. When the weatherman predicted sunny skies and staying warm, with your own voice first and foremost when you start your social climb. Don't sleep on the subway, Lord, you get there right on time. I'm going round and round in circles. I don't know if it's a game, but I plan my life on my own and leave myself to blame. I'm going round and round in circles. I don't know